a bit here at the beginning of the season, for the first half of the season, but they have bolstered their roster with the acquisition of Spirit. Spirit, a very heavy hitter. Spirit, arguably the second best Terran in Europe. Gabe? Arguably, like, Spirit has been improving a lot over time, and he is vying for that number 2 spot. He's at least top 3, and he has been looking so damn good over the course of 2023. But it's not just Spirit, it is also players like MaxPax, the ace player here of PSISTORM Gaming, and he's going to be going up against Solar in quite a PvZ, a juicy one at that. We have seen these two players go up against each other time and time again in ESL Cup of Americas, in Kung Fu Cups as well. We have had the luxury of casting them in these online events because, hey, online events are the only thing that you can cast MaxPax in. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But yeah, I'll be honest, I would typically give MaxPax the edge. We have casted these two players quite a bit, and MaxPax looks terrifying. There are times where he can sometimes make Solar look a little bit rough around the edges. If he can really get into the game, if he can get a solid lead early on with his Adept Harass, with his Oracle Harass as well, he can get out of hand. But here we go, we're getting into game number 1, and spawning in the top left-hand corner for Onsyde Gaming, it is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressman for PSISTORM Gaming, it is MaxPax. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Once again, we have a very crucial match ahead of us. Oh, shout out to Solar, by the way. He's always showcasing his trophy case behind him. You know, the Dream Hacks, the IEMs. There are like flowers. He's like spruced it up a little bit. I don't know what it is, but it's looking. Maybe he dusted them recently. It's looking quite nice, quite shiny, quite organized as well. Of course, Solar, a champion in his own right, but a lot of those championships did come to him in Heart of the Swarm and early Legacy of the Void as well. It has been quite some time here. We talk about this quite frequently when we talk about the Zerg players in Korea, like Dark, Rogue, Ragnarok, or previously Rogue. It feels like Solar has been in their shadow for quite some time. And even though we know that he's a world-class player, we know that he's amazing at what he does, he hasn't really been able to have the limelight or really showcase himself in a long time. That's why I was really happy to see him perform well at ESL Masters Summer a couple of weeks ago at this point. In Sweden, in DreamHack Jönköping, Solar did quite well for himself, making it all the way into the playoffs, even superseding Dark as well. Did fall in the end to Gumiho, but it's Gumiho. It's what do you expect? So yeah, it was really cool to see Solar doing well there, and I do think that he is on the rise when it comes to his skill. I do think that he is, looking to peak once again like he has in the past, and he isn't one to sleep on. I do think that he's going to create a really competitive series here for MaxPax. I look forward to it. Unlike some of the previous matchups, I don't think it's too easy to predict, how this is going to go, whether it's a 2-0 one way or the other, or even a 1-1. This could go either way. For the time being, pretty standard openers. We do have a Hatchcast pool here from Solar. Likewise, MaxPax setting up a Gate Expand into that Stargate opener. Nothing too crazy here from MaxPax. Should be seeing an Oracle and should be seeing a third base behind this as well. MaxPax is more than willing to go into something crazy like a Twilight Council opener behind this, into something like 4 Gate Glaive Adepts. It is not out of the realm of possibility, but for the time being, everything is looking quite normal. Everything is looking on the up and up. Till then, we do have the first Adept hitting across the map. Going to try and take down that tumor, but no, it is going to be fended off by that Queen. Second Adept is coming out behind this to support the first. And of course, with 2 Adepts, we can wreak havoc here in the mineral lines. Soul has to be very careful here with his link control and his Queen movement to make sure that these Adepts don't get out of hand. I was talking about it before, but the reality is that we have casted a couple of games where MaxPax, with just pure Adept and Oracle harass, not even a commitment, by the way, just harass, does pull Solar apart. So he has it within him. He has the control to pull that off. Solar, he's got to respect it. The Adepts are forced back for the time being, but they are kept alive, which means that they will be available as the time goes on to harass alongside said Oracles to meet up with the additional Adepts moving out from across the map as well. And we'll see how he's able to bring this together. We do have a couple links just confirming the third base. Going to be chipping away at it as well. Unfortunately, there are no Adepts here to defend, so the Oracle is forced to turn around. We have MaxPax just cutting a couple of corners, investing into additional Oracles, of course. Adepts do commit to the shade, and they're going to be headed towards that natural base, and they will get a couple of drones. Only a couple, though, not too many. As I say that, ooh, that is going to be 3 drones in total for 2 Adepts. That could have been worse. At the same time, Oracle's trying to punish that third base. There was no Spore, but alas, there were also no drones there to take advantage of. As MaxPax is deflected. Behind this, we have a pretty standard transition as well. We have a Twilight Council into the Forge, should be +1, and Blink Stalkers. We'll see if he mixes things up with Charge instead. We have seen quite a number of Protoss players fond of Charge or Archon as a composition instead of Blink Stalker. It's definitely a valid avenue of tech for the Protoss. As MaxPax is going to just be dancing between the bases with these Oracles. Solar cutting some corners. I believe there are some of these bases that don't have any spores, so we'll see if Solar can get away with that. There's a spore in the main, thankfully, as well as the queen, but that won't stop these gas mining workers to be focused on 4 drones in total. And the Oracles do survive. Again, this is damage that's slowly adding up over time. Solar, he's got to be careful to make sure this doesn't get too out of hand, as drone damage continues to be done. Behind this, we do have Blink and +1. Not just that, we actually have a second Forge on the way as well for MaxPax. Going to be working on that. We're just going to be heavily reliant on those upgrades. Staying on a Gateway army, I guess that does give us confirmation. He's not one to tech heavily or tech too quickly into something like Robo, something like Colossi. As the Lings are going to be threatening both the natural and the third base. Oracles coming together once again. And I'm curious over the course of this game, how many drones have fallen? We get another 2. Like, every time they poke in, it's like 2, 3, maybe even 4 workers going down. And that does add up over time. So we do have Solar just trying to be active with his own forces, but alas, there's plenty to defend back at home. We have the Adepts, we have the Stalkers in position as well. Working towards 1-1. I was kind of curious if MaxPax was going to be going for something like a 7 to 8 gate all-in, but no, we have a 4th hatchery on the way as well. As another 2 drones go down. But yeah, MaxPax does have a 4th on the way behind this. Hasn't taken any additional gases, is still staying on a pure gateway composition. Going to be moving out across them. He hasn't made additional Oracles, I don't think. He's still staying on 3 for the time being, but 3 is enough to support this army, and here we go. MaxPax is going to be looking to push out to contest against this creep, and ideally trade a little bit against the army of his opponent. Again, we have the Oracles to protect these Stalkers, whether it's with Stasis Trap or even these Pulsar Beams, more than enough to clean up Lings. Speaking of, Solar tries to go for a counterattack, but we have shield batteries, we have cannons in position as well. The 4th base is perfectly fine, and MaxPax is looking to reinforce. Oh, these are costly trades for Solar. Roaches are being targeted down. He sets up a surround, but the Stasis Trap goes off as well. The Lings are just not going to be a part of this fight at all. The Roaches once again exposed. And, oh god, it looks like with these reinforcements, no, it will not be enough. Another Stasis goes off. This is getting out of hand. 28 Lings and 8 Roaches here for only 5 Stalkers. MaxPax, he won't test his luck. He will back off, recognizing that, of course, one of those Stasis Traps will be running out. And he shaves off even more of these Lings. Behind this, we have another Gateway explosion. These Stalkers will soon be accompanied by Zealots. Where I imagine the Zealots are mainly going to be used to harass. Another Stasis Trap going to be going off, forcing Solar to back off. Again, we still aren't going to be working with any kind of splash damage, no Immortal production or Disruptors or Colossi or anything like that. Just Stalkers, Zealots, that's all we need. That's all we need for now. MaxPax even taking a 5th base, my god. Expanding like a Zerg player. It's the way that Protoss is going now in PvZ. No reason not to. Remember, charge is now done. We have that Prism slipping in towards that 5th base, actually going straight for the main. Solar does have eyes on this. He will be rotating over to meet up. Spores are in position. Oh, the Prism almost goes down. And in the midst of all this chaos, we have a Baneling run by MaxPax with keen eyes. He does pull away. God! He does pull away, but the Banelings will connect. 10 probes go down. I'm gonna pull the mic away. I'm gonna. I feel like that's not gonna be the last time we have a Baneling run by. Could have been a lot worse. +2 melee isn't quite done yet. We have the Ling Bane rushing on forward. We do have a couple of stage traps, and they will be baited out by these Lings. Zealous looking to go for a counterattack here. The Ling Bane finally getting on top of some of these Stalkers. And these Zealots shouldn't get too out of hand. We have a Prism to help reinforce, so the Banelings are going to be able to clean them up. Likewise, Zealots on the left-hand side also don't get too much done. But the Stalkers will. The Stalkers push on forward, getting to the juicy center of Solar's army, to those Roaches. Looks like he doesn't have too much left to work with, though, so he's going to have to back off. Behind this MaxPax on 82 workers. Behind this, he did get a Robo. He did get a Bay. We have Disruptor production commencing. But MaxPax just lost a lot of Zealots. Now, suddenly, momentum is in favor of Solar. He has so many Banelings ready for these run-bys. +2 is finally done. And we're not able to get crazy amounts of damage, but 7 probes still. Quite good here for Solar. His main army rotating over as well towards this forward base, towards its 5th. But the Disruptor has arrived. How good is the Nova going to be? We're going to need it We're going to need it here on this army. Does get a decent connection on those Roaches. Does force Solar back at the same time. Another Zealot warping across the map is going to force him back home. Giving MaxPax the breathing room he needs. Oh, the Queen! The Queen wants the Prism! Oh my god. The Prism barely makes it into the main. Should be hunted down. These Zealots shouldn't be able to get too much more damage, but we get 7 more drones. Oh god, no, the Prism! Does wander in range of the Spores. Will go down. Solar, I'm sure, breathing a bit of a sigh of relief now that the Prism has been dealt with, but we have another run by towards the southern side. That Disruptor count slowly getting larger and larger here for MaxPax. I love this Zealot split as well. Trying to minimize the damage of those Banelings. As MaxPax's main army does push forward here on the northern side. We have 2 Disruptors with the main army, a couple of Stasis Traps as well. The first Nova is going to get baited out, and Solar's looking for the surround. He wants those Disruptors, and it looks like the Novas are going to be going off here on the Roaches, on the Banelings. But we still have so much Zerg. MaxPax caught overextended. Zealot Rama is going to pull back the attention here of Solar. It is going to give MaxPax a little bit more breathing room, but no, we have more Banelings being morphed in here on the front lines. Solar wants to capitalize on the fact that the Disruptor count was reset. He knows that there are none to work with, not for now. Yeah, and he's pushing on forward. He wants that mineral line as well. The Banelings are headed straight for it, and there is no... Oh god! There is a very delayed reaction, and probes will fall. And so will the Nexus. MaxPax can afford to lose a base, not so much the probes, but does have plenty more Nexuses where that came from. As we are getting into that Colossus production. MaxPax still has a pretty comparable army to his opponent. We're still sticking with Ling Bane, Roach Ravager for the time being. Solar, now with the map control, is looking to try and maybe pull apart the attention here of MaxPax with these run-bys. Rotating over towards the south. We only have 1 shield battery, 1 cannon. MaxPax is not ready for this. He's not ready at all. We have an overcharge that's going to help. At the same time, we have a Ling counterattack here on the top side of the map. Oh, but a good split up here by MaxPax. The Oracles defend the north. The main army rotates towards the south. MaxPax doesn't lose too much at all. I thought that Solar would maybe get a little bit more damage, but no, he is forced back. MaxPax able to barely keep up for now. But it does feel like he's being spread a little bit too thin. Nova goes off a juicy connection on the Roaches. Oh my god. 42 Lings, 4 Roaches, 2 Ravagers. Zealot Rambai going uncontested here towards the north. Solar may even... Okay, he's not going to lose the base. He's forcing a recall. Solar being very meticulous here with his army. He wants to make sure he doesn't throw anything away needlessly. MaxPax also maneuvering with his main army here in the center of the map. Bold move. Has to be very careful not to be surrounded. His army is spotted by that Overlord. As he's headed towards the center base. MaxPax up to 90 workers. That is insane. That's maybe too many workers, not gonna lie. But we do see Solar coming in from behind. He's setting up the surround. The Colossi looking exposed. There is no prism to save them. The Nova does connect, though, on the army, but the first Colossus goes down. The second one as well. Again, pushing out without the War Prism there to protect your high-tech units was such a bold move. Unfortunately, he didn't have eyes on the army either. He wasn't ready for this round. Wasn't expecting it. Solar takes a good fight, but in the midst of all of that, he loses a base. He loses a couple of workers. He loses a hatchery. His overall worker count isn't amazing either. He's on 69 workers. Nice. It's usually nice, but not in this position. I wouldn't say. Solar's having a hard time remaxing. He's having a hard time keeping up here with the economy of MaxPax with 93 probes now. Even if he loses a mineral line, he's still going to be ahead. Colossi coming out just in time. Solar, he was trying to snowball out of control, but alas, he is running out of steam. He's running out of money. He just has no mineral bank. Trying to make as many links as he can, but another Zealot Rambe gets 4 more drones, and these are drones that he cannot afford to lose. Not like this, Papi. Not like this. And there it is. GG gets called. Solar pulled apart, could not keep up with the bases of MaxPax, and MaxPax will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. We had some good moments. We had some good engagements from Solar, but alas, he just was having a hard time maintaining his bases, maintaining his workers as well. Without them, he just couldn't rebuild, or he couldn't maintain his losses, basically. He was losing far too many Lings, far too many Roaches to replace against MaxPax, despite the surrounds, despite the fights. GG. GG. And there were 2 really good moments. Remember, there was a moment where he caught 3 disruptors to the northern portion of the map, and then there was also the moment where he surrounded the army in the center of the map as well, killing all those Colossi. Like, those were good moments for Solar, don't get me wrong. But alas, they weren't enough to really make up for the other losses that he had throughout the course of that game. And now we're going to be getting into game number 2. Going to be taking place on Neo Humanity. Interesting choice. This is Solar's map pick, by the way. Solar, he's forcing a game on Neo Humanity. And what kind of game will we have here? We can go one of 2 directions. We can be hyper aggressive, which I feel like that's what Solar wants. I don't think Solar wants a longer game. Otherwise, MaxPax could even try to take advantage of this map and even rush into Sky Toss in the mid game. It is quite possible. We actually saw Hero do that earlier in KSL. That I think about it. This morning we were casting KSL, and yeah, we saw even earlier today Hero rush into Tempest actually, which was an interesting choice. But you know, it does work from time to time. So we got options here. We got options for the Protoss, but in the top left-hand corner, we have the Zerg. We have the blue Zerg player for Onsyde Gaming. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity for PSISTORM Gaming, the Danish Protoss, it is MaxPax. Let's go. And yeah, MaxPax does come in swinging here, taking game number 1. Can Solar fight back? He can, definitely. Like, it's not like he has a losing record against MaxPax, or too heavily of a losing record. No, he can go toe-to-toe with the best of them. And Solar, he's forced to take the unnatural natural. He's going to be taking that forward base. And that could be the beginning, the first sign here of aggression. Now, just because the forward base has been taken doesn't mean that we have to go into a queen push, doesn't mean that we have to go into a big queen roach all in. but it does assist that. It does kind of open the door here for Solar. I'm sure MaxPax is fully aware of that as well. I'm sure he will be wary of any committed push. I'm sure he's going to be keeping an eye on the base count, on the drone count, and even on these rocks as the game goes on. So we'll see. We shall see. I do think that it's also like an obvious thing here for Solar to try and go for something like a big push, a big three base push here with roaches and queens. And I don't know if it's the wisest of choices to do that against MaxPax. I feel like more than anything, MaxPax is known for his defensive play. In a weird way, I don't know if he's taken that mantle from Showtime, but especially in PvP and even in PvZ, like he's known as being the player who can just get away with greed, get away with these more economic openers, kind of like Spirit in a way, where Spirit is also known for some incredibly greedy openers, especially in TvZ as well. But they're just so well practiced at defending and getting away with their openers, where it's just it's just what can you do? You can't stop them. So yeah, I do worry here a little bit for Solar, but we'll see where we end up, where we do head with this game. For the time being, just the hatch gas pool here from Solar, of course, taking that center base. MaxPax behind this is going to be threatening said base and going into a Stargate. That's to be expected. No Twilight Council opener here from MaxPax. As he is looking to get into those oracles. Just going to be keeping an eye on any additional gases being taken, maybe a fast lair as well. Again, scouting is going to be paramount here for MaxPax. Making sure he's aware of what Solar is up to. Just because this map is so small, if at any moment something does go unscattered, the punish, or you can get punished so heavily here on Neo Humanity. Oh, so heavily. As, yeah, these setups aren't doing too bad, to be honest. They get 2 more drones. They're picking up quite a number of lings as well here as well. Far more than they should have. And Solar just being caught off creep. Finally, ling speed does kick in. Jesus, 9 lings and 2 drones for 1 adept. Very nice trade from MaxPax. From here is looking to go for that Stargate opener into Oracle, into Expand. And Solar is going for that Roach Warren, a very early Roach Warren as well, especially considering it's a Stargate opener. That was a 4... Oh, did he cancel? I think he did. I don't know if you saw in the production tab, there was a Roach Warren, but I want to say it didn't complete. I think we're going to get confirmation once we do see it, once we do get eyes on the main base. But yeah, I think he did cancel that Roach Warren. So Solar may be a little bit indecisive. Maybe expecting a Twilight Council opener, but after the Oracle reveal itself, then he's like, okay, I don't need this Roach Warren this early. Did cancel in the end. Solar just wants to go for a bit of a later game. As I say that, 6 drones already go down to the Oracle harass, and the Oracles are still alive. Oh, not a good start here for Solar. You can see he's behind in the economy. Now we throw down that Roach Warren at a much more acceptable time against a Stargate opener. For those wondering, you usually need a Roach Warren earlier if you're up against a Twilight Council, because that leads into Glaive Adept aggression, or just aggression in general. But against something like a Stargate, fast Roach Warrens are typically not seen unless you're going for like a big committed push, unless you're going for an all-in. As the Oracles are going to be threatening said bases. And, oh, we overextend quite a bit. Oh, never mind. The Oracle barely does survive, getting 2 more drones. At the same time, 2 more Oracles dive into the natural base. There is no Spore, and oh, Solar is punished for it. These Oracles, they do take a lot of hits, but they survive, and that is all that matters. They will be able to regenerate those shields. As Solar is done droning. He's had enough. He's lost far too many drones this game. We're working through the rocks as we speak. Roaches are in production, and it looks like Solar doesn't intend to make any more drones. 40 workers is all he needs. Adepts do shade in between the bases, and this is a bit of a tell. Lack of saturation at the natural of Solar. Rocks are being knocked down. Solar is going all in, and MaxPax it looks like he's been able to piece this together. We have shield batteries. We have cannons on the way at the third base. His army is getting in position. MaxPax is getting ready to receive. And his oracles will get confirmation of the army. Oh boy, one way or another, the game will end. Either MaxPax holds or he doesn't. Blink still on the way. It's not going to be ready for this. The Queens are waddling on forward as well. Wings slip into the mineral line. We have 3 shield batteries and a cannon, as well as that overcharge. And there we go. Overcharge is going to be popped. The first shield battery does get focused down. The second one as well by those Lings. Good target firing coming out here from Solar as every single shield battery goes down. Without Blink, these Stalkers are having a hard time trading. The boys have to be cool. They have to be pulled. The cannons do finish up. And it looks like Solar is running out of steam. Wow, even without Blink. And Blink just finishes up, which means MaxPax, he can chase this down. The Queens fall one after another. The Ravagers as well. We can see Solar tilt his head. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, you know, it's what happens when you're this committed. It's also what happens when you were getting into an all-in already at a pretty rough, like, economic position as well. Solar, he lost so many drones coming into this, had to replace so many of them as well. Did weaken his overall push. Lings are coming in for a behind. They're coming in for a surround. But the Oracles are here to rain down on said Lings. Solar backs off. He's still not droning, by the way. He's still on 39 workers. He's amassing more Queens, more Lings, more Roaches. It looks like Solar is setting up for a second wave. And that second wave isn't going to hit as hard as the first, I'll be honest. I'll be honest, Bobby, I'll be honest. Oh. As now, MaxPax, he's going to have Blink, he's going to have +1. I believe he's replacing the shield batteries that died earlier. I hope. Yeah, we have at least 1 shield battery. There we go, more cannons on the way as well. MaxPax is not cutting corners, he's not being too greedy. He's respecting his opponent's position. He doesn't want to get caught out by the second all-in. Oh, as the Lings are coming in from behind, but again, the Oracles actually don't have too much energy. I don't know if Solar quite has enough to really punish this. He's getting on top of some of these Stalkers, but we are able to blink away in time. Yes, again, Solar's still not droning. The longer this goes on, the better it gets for MaxPax. At a solid 66 drone count, +2 on the way. Solar trying to set up another surround. The Lings are coming in from behind, but MaxPax has eyes on this. He does pull back in time. To his defensive line, to his cannons, to his shield batteries. Files push back the army, but we can't do much else other than that. Solar, he starts droning. Oh god, this is a sad moment. Solar has commenced droning once again. He's going to try to macro out of this. He has accepted the fact that he cannot kill his opponents. There is no way. And this is going to be a rough road to travel here for Solar, not going to lie. He's in a really rough position. He doesn't even have a lair. We do see... Oh no, who is it? Emil? Emil! Ay. Oh, and this is a little bit premature. MaxPax has not taken the series yet. There we go. Exclamation mark for none of the production team. Getting ready with that score. Ay. But it looks like we do have one of the observers lagging out a little bit, so we do have to have a bit of a pause here to make sure we can get back into this game. But the reality is that Solar is in a really rough place. The reality is that it's going to be so difficult for Solar to somehow claw his way back into this game, to somehow pull off a win. Impossible? Nothing's impossible, but it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. Oh boy. How will he come back? I mean, okay. So there's a world where I don't know. He doesn't have a baling nest. I was about to say maybe if he's able to defend and sneak out like a couple of baling run bys and somehow slip into some mineral lines, maybe, but he doesn't have a baling nest. And there are cannons in the mineral lines, there are shield batteries in the mineral lines as well. Like, MaxPax is just so heavily fortified at his third and even his fourth base. So even something like that wouldn't work. Maybe bailing drops, but we don't even have a lair. We don't even have a lair, Poppy, so we can't even go for drops. It's just it's rough, you know. I'm sure you're aware, but whenever you go for something like an all-in, technically, like, I guess you can live beyond that, but you're just so far behind that it's so difficult to make up for the deficit that you kind of put yourself into, especially at this level of play, especially at this level of play where MaxPax is looking to punish you. MaxPax is good enough to be able to punish you for that as well. So these are scenarios that are difficult to recover from. Has happened in the past, I guess, but they are few and far between, as we are just waiting here to resolve any kind of connection issues. Worst case scenario is that the actual observer, because I'm pretty sure there are multiple like refs in the game, but if the main observer, if they do crash, then we're probably gonna have to remake. Resume from replay, obviously. Resume from replay. But like, I don't think we would want to, you know, not have the mainstream go on, right? Like, like at the end of the day, this is a broadcast that's happening, and I'm sure that they want to be able to make it through it as well. So they may have to resume from replay depending on who was lagged out. I think there's like an admin as well. So hopefully everything is okay. Hopefully everything is all good and we can just continue from here. As we can also have a look at our next matchups as well. Once this best of 2 finishes up, and here we go. We're diving back into this. Everyone is ready. And now the potential comeback or the potential end of the game, as MaxPax is going to look to force his way up this ramp. We do have plenty of Roach Ravager here in position. Lings do come in from behind. They do shut down the Zealot run-by that was in the midst of moving out. But the Lings do get caught out instead. Behind this, we have Charge on the horizon. I think a Templar Archives just finished up as well, so we can get into Archons. Lair still on the way for Solar. Still can't get into Roach Speed, into Drop Lords, into any other tech. He's stuck here with Ling Roach Ravager. And with good enough blinks, yeah. With good enough blinks, there's not enough to hold on. GG gets called, and the pop-off, Bobby. MaxPax just elated with his win. You love to see it. GG, well played. MaxPax will take the 2-0 for his team. A very strong start here for PSISTORM Gaming, and it's a strong start that they need because we have 2 other amazing matchups before us. 2 TVTs. So the mirror matchups will not end. Not yet. We had a ZVZ earlier and a PvP, and now the TVTs are upon us. We're going to be getting into Maru versus Spirit. But a shout out to both MaxPax and Solar. Solar, game number 2 was a little bit more rough. He had a really hard time getting into the mid game, and he was stumbling into his all-in as well, just because of how much economic damage was being done to Solar. Game 1 was a little bit more back and forth, but again, MaxPax is one of the best Protoss in the world right now. He is top 2 alongside Hero, arguably top 1, and he's able to have a really strong start here for PSISTORM Gaming. This is a little bit more up in the air. We have Maru versus Spirit. Maru, the best Terran in Korea. Spirit has been doing really well for himself. He has been performing so well this year. I think both Asher and I, we saw his rise at IM Katowice. He had a really strong performance there, and ever since IM Katowice at the start of the year, he's just been getting better and better results, improving so much as a player. And I think in years gone by, he was like Piotr, he was kind of known as like the practice partner. Like he was known as the guy who's like always there to play games and stuff. I think it was like memed upon a little bit amongst like the European pros, but recently this year, like he really has leveled up beyond that, right? He's really come into his own, and it's been really cool to see his growth as a player. And I don't think he stopped growing. That's the thing. I think he's been continuing to improve over time, and he showed that in the regionals for Europe for DreamHack. On top of that, he also showed that at DreamHack Yongshipping, at ESL Masters Summer as well. Spirit also had a really good performance, I believe taking down Hero Marine as well in a TVT, if I'm not mistaken. So Spirit clearly well-versed in the TVTs, but is it good enough to go up against Maru? That's the question. I mean, he doesn't have to 2-0. Even a 2-1 is going to be good enough here for for Spirit. Oh, but maybe he wants more than that. Maybe, as we are getting into our next matchup. Maru, oh my god. Do you see what I see? Where's Asher? Maru's been stripped of his title. That's brutal. Maru used to be an S-tier player. There used to be two, Cyril and Maru. There were two S-tier players in WTL, and Maru has been docked some points, papi. I guess his performance at ESL Masters Summer was not satisfactory enough, and WTL, they've taken his S away. Oh my god. That's crazy. That's brutal. He's not bad. What? True, papi, true. 2-1. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant to say 1-1. Yeah. But yeah, that's crazy. Like, Maru's still amazing. He's still in form. And for them to punish him this way, it's just, mate. The WCL admins, they're fickle people. They're fickle creatures, mate. You mess up once, mate, they take the points away, papi. They take them away. Crazy. So, alas. Starting this week at least, Maru is merely a mortal among men like the rest of us. He is not an S-tier player. That is only reserved for Cyril for the time being. I believe now that means that Cyril is the only S-tier player in WTL. Damn. Here we go. We're getting into our next game. And in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood for Onsyde Gaming, it is Maru. An A-tier player, apparently. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner for PSISTORM Gaming, we have the Polish Terran Spirit. Let's go, papi. Let's go. Also, I would also ask as well, will I have a co-caster today? It's up to the jersey. May have another Duckling showing up for her favorite matchup.
Why would you summon me for a TVT?
I just realized it's your favorite matchup. What do you mean? What do you mean, Koopa?
God.
It's TVT.
Save me.
Oh my god, here we go. So far, both players going for double gas openers here. No one's crazy enough to go for a rack expand or anything like that, so no greedy economic openers. For the time being, they aren't going to be mirroring each other. And something important to take note of is that Maru has his racks in his main, no proxy. And I feel like when we talk about Maru, we have to bring it up.
True. There was a time when Maru was proxying like literally every game. That was a time.
Mm-hmm.
But
now it's every other game.
Huh?
Now it's every other game.
Oh, okay. Isn't it every third now? I haven't seen him proxy that much.
It's been a while. It has been a while. For those wondering, for those who may be curious as to who is that disembodied voice that I'm hearing, am I going crazy?
Yes.
Yes, you are. But Kuro is another one of the CranKy Ducklings. We have quite a number of casters here at the CranKy Ducklings, and Kuro handles the production. She handles the production for World Team League specifically. And because I've been solo casting quite a bit today, did reach out into the ether. Is there someone to join me today for at least a second match? And Kuro, upon hearing the TVTs, 2 TVTs actually back to back, she jumped at the chance to cast.
God, is it 2 TVTs? Get me out! What have I done?
Let's go. Hey, TVTs, they're good now. Okay, they're no longer these slow, like siege positional, or this like positional battle of siege line versus siege line, where one player moves forward and the other player moves back. Like long gone, or they're few and far between. Nowadays, it's a lot more active. It's a lot more action packed, and I think a lot of people have been really changing their mind and turning around at TVT, and it's been a very, very dynamic matchup in the current era of StarCraft.
I mean, last time you said that, we literally saw tank lines, so...
They're few and far between.
I'll keep my faith in this very low for now. I keep my expectations low.
Only when you cast. As as Maru's looking to be quite aggressive here. We do, of course, have our 1-1-1 openers, but Maru is going for an early medevac, so he's going to be going for a tank drop across the map, looking to get in the face of Spirit. Meanwhile, Spirit is taking a more defensive approach here. We have a Cyclone on the way, which will help defend against things like Banshees or any kind of early harassment in general. But it is going to depend on whether Spirit can see this coming ahead of time or just be in position for this push.
Yeah, and it looks like Maru is moving out with his drop, and we will have a tank together with 4 Marines. I think Spirit should be more than ready for it though. It looks like he is expecting exactly the drop to come.
Yeah, he is getting ready here in his main base, but the drop doesn't have to go to the main. It can go towards a natural instead. Spirit, I love it. He does have a spotted Marine here outside his natural base. He does spot this ahead of time. He pushes on forward, and we get a lock-on on the Hellion, but we're able to get on top of the tank.
Yeah, the tank is getting damaged, but it's not going down, and it looks like it will survive. Actually, the turret will finish it off, but now it's just the Hellion and Raven here to defend.
Yeah, that was a close fight in the end. The Marines do survive for Maru. He's able to get a couple of SCV kills. Again, it was an unfortunate lock-on for that Cyclone on the Hellion of all things. Whether it would have been the tank or the medevac, something else would have been a little bit better, and Maru is looking to snowball.
Yeah, I mean, this tank comes for defense, but it is being locked on. The SCVs are barely saving it, but just barely. It was actually really close, and this tank would be going down.
Ooh, yeah, with the survival of that tank, Spirit has held. If that tank had gone down, things would have gone even more out of hand, would have gone more out of control. Behind this, Maru was taking his third base on location. Behind this aggression, I say aggression, it's only 2 Marines and a Cyclone as well, to be fair, so Spirit has to respect it. He has to be careful.
I mean, it's still annoying because this actually supply blocks Spirit for the time being, so it is still a little bit of damage done, but I mean, nothing too major right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the time being, Spirit's just being contained. He's working on his own third CC, not on location. It's in his main base, so gonna take a little bit longer to get up and running. Maru so far getting away with his greed as he once again drops into the main base. And Observer! Observer, the main! The main!
Panic! At the same time, Maru has a tank in front of the base of Spirit, so he may be trying to do some multi-prong, but it looks like the drop in the main is defended. At the same time, we have those 2 Ravens from Spirit coming up.
Yeah, we have a Raven head towards the natural, another Raven towards the main base as well. Can Maru keep up with this? For the most part, he's focusing on his aggression, and looks like he will catch a tank. He actually wants to take control of the natural base of Spirit.
Yeah, the 2 Ravens of Maru are all here, and together with the tank and the Cyclone, they're actually taking over the base. The harassment from Spirit is nice, and Maru does not pull away, but at the same time, the natural is completely destroyed on Spirit's side of the map.
Yeah, the natural has been compromised. We do see a couple of units coming out. The boys have to be pulled. We have a clutch disable on the first tank, but Maru is literally rallying everything he has across the map. He is trickling in with as little as possible, but it's slowly breaking through. Like, he is getting damage done. He's losing a lot of SCVs across the map, though.
Yeah, to be fair, both players are actually losing a lot of SCVs, so I'm not sure who comes up on top. It looks like Spirit should be able to hold Maru's aggression here, but yeah, both players suffered quite a lot of losses.
Yeah, this is a very scrappy game. Both players losing a lot of SCVs, as you were saying. Both players losing a lot of their high-tech units as well. Finally, Maru backs off. Finally, Spirit has some room to breathe.
Yeah, and the Ravens will be eventually shooed away by those Vikings. One of them did go down, but the good part for Maru is that he did put down his third base on location, while Spirit is still in his main base.
Yeah, Maru does have that economic lead. He hunts down one Raven. He's looking to hunt down the second Raven as well. Massive pickoffs here for Maru. Ravens, they had so much value here, especially in the early game. Doesn't matter if you have a tank lead. Doesn't matter if you have a entrenched position. Ravens change that dynamic entirely.
Yeah. Actually, look how many Vikings does Maru have. Like, his advantage in air is quite significant, and they're gonna easily deal with whatever Spirit has. And I mean, this, yeah, just land and deal with the rest of the army.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Because of the Ravens, the tank does get disabled. The Vikings land. GG gets called, and Maru takes game number 1 off of hyper-aggressive play. Just with very little, he was just constantly in the face of his opponent. And sure, Maru, he was losing a lot of workers back at home, but he was doing even more damage across the map. Not just getting workers, but also killing the Ravens, killing the tanks, killing the Cyclones. Getting so much done.
Yeah, and Maru just did not let go of the aggression. Like, once he started, he just kept going. Even if it was like small advantages, but that doesn't matter. Just keep going. Eventually, it's gonna break.
Yeah, eventually someone will break, either Spirit or Maru, and Spirit did barely break as well. But that was quite close, to be honest. It was very close, and I don't know if we're gonna see that again. We do have another game ahead of us, but
it is Maru. I feel like Maru has no fear. Like, that's the thing, like, he may not be like proxy raxing right now, but he just doesn't have fear. He just keeps going.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Maru, he's all about aggression, especially if he thinks that he's the better player as well. Whether it does kind of unfold and get showcased in proxy play or in other forms of aggression as well. So, yeah, as a result, Spirit, he has to make sure he's, on point. He's on notice. He's going to be going into Ancient Cistern. That is going to be his map of choice. And I think we get a clear story here that Spirit is going for a much larger map because he wants room. He wants to get into the mid game, Papi. He wants to play some StarCraft.
Sure. Does Maru want to though?
Maru, he's playing his own version of StarCraft.
Oh,
That's what he's doing. Yeah.
He's playing his own StarCraft. And I mean, you can try to stop him.
Yeah, it's going to be on Spirit to try and stop him. Again, he has some pretty top-tier TVT, but is it going to be enough? We'll find out because his opponent is here in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern for Onsyde Gaming. It is Maru.
And the bottom left corner, we have the red Terran representing PSISTORM. It's Spirit.
Oh, let's go, because Maru! That's an SCV being sent out across the map. Oh, he knows what he needs, Papi. He knows. At least once in a TVT.
Yeah, you were saying this every second game now. It's like, yeah. I thought he would. Makes sense.
Yeah. This series may be over before it began, and before we get into that, we shout out to the sponsors: Doyu, TGI Fridays, Hypergriff, Taidu, and Rio de Janeiro. Without all these lovely sponsors, lovely countries, even, we just wouldn't have WTL. We wouldn't have this game before us, where Maru is going for a proxy 2 racks. Let's go.
So, do you think Spirit can hold the proxy 2 racks from Maru?
Yeah, definitely. It all comes down to reaction time. It comes down to execution as well. We've seen this dynamic before. We've casted, we casted plenty of TVTs, Kupa.
Yeah, we did.
As typically Spirit, he'd have to react very well here by pulling some SCVs to make up for his Reaper deficit, and it's going to be so tense here. We have to be so careful with the Reaper control. Neither one of these players can lose their initial Reapers, otherwise things will very quickly snowball in favor of the opposing player. So it's going to be a very heavy micro dance. I also love that Spirit is throwing down a spotter depot as well, just so he can get an eye on whether or not we do have Reapers slipping into his main.
Yeah, it looks like it's a habit that he has, that he does keep that spotter depot. He also SCV scouts Maru, so he knows that something is not quite right in his main base, so he should be getting ready for whatever is coming.
Yeah, mentally, Spirit is now prepared for the Reapers because of that SCV scout, and now he's going to be preparing back at home. We have a bunker here at the ramp, but the Reapers don't care about your bunker. They do slip on in. A couple of shots are already going to be going off here on the Reaper of Spirit, and he has to pull the boys.
Yeah, he has to, and he's trying to snipe the SCV of Maru, and he succeeds in doing so, but at the same time his own SCVs are in danger.
Yeah, they are. We have a Marine popping out as well. The factory is still on the way. More SCVs have to be pulled off the line again. Their goal here is to help buffer, help protect the units of Spirit, and he is able to force Maru out of his main.
Yeah, so he's keeping Maru at bay for the time being. That SCV is still on the map, so Spirit can keep an eye on the situation, and his factory is about to finish, or I think it actually just did. The Helion is on the way, so I think Spirit can hold this.
Yeah, Maru's transitioning. Maru, he respects the position of Spirit. He's like, okay, I didn't get out of control. I didn't get too much damage. You defended well enough. I know that I can't break you, and he is throwing down his factory back at her.
So I guess we will get into a fairly normal game after all.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into a bit of a later game here. We have Maru being the first player to expand as well. We already have a natural on location for Maru. So it's going to be on Spirit to recognize when it's safe to expand and recognize that Maru has backed off. And there we go, he does throw down a CC of his own.
Yeah, but Maru might have backed off, but he's still coming in with all of those Reapers that he has already made. And there are 2 Helions, so they will be decently easy to deal with, but still Spirit has to be careful. And once again, he loses the depot.
Yeah, we do have the racks providing high ground vision. The depot is going to be going down. Supply blocking Spirit. Ooh, a heavy supply block as well. As we just started that depot and that that CC is still a ways off. So pretty important pickup actually for Maru.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Maru realizes that, but it's so far every time we see the depot it goes down and it's supply block Spirit, so it's actually quite meaningful.
Yeah, exactly. As we do see both players, again, attempting to transition here into the later stages of this game. Maru being quite greedy, throwing down a very fast third CC behind this. My god.
Wait, is it third or fourth? It's third, right? He only just finished his natural.
Yeah.
Okay, because for a second I saw 2 CCs in the production tab. I'm like, hold on. But no, he only just finished the natural.
Yeah, and I love this because, again, Spirit, because of the opener, I'm sure he's feeling pretty scared. Like, he's feeling like he has to focus on defending and turtling and slowly expanding, and Maru is taking advantage of how defensive Spirit is being by taking an economic lead instead.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that can work in your favor there because, Maru dedicated himself to aggression early on, so he kind of has to catch up a little bit in the economy, but since, as you said, Spirit is holding back, like, he could just do that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this will give some advantages to Spirit, of course, as he will have a more robust army. We can see Spirit already taking a lead in the army supply, but these Reapers are going to be threatening him. They do force him to back off. At the same time, Spirit does go for a bit of counterattack, a bit of counter-harassment, and will he get a scout of that third CC?
I don't think he will, actually. He's focusing on doing damage to the SCVs, and he will only kill 2 in the end. But as you said, at the same time, the Reapers of Maru are still around. They're actually coming back home to make sure to protect the bases, but they are still potential danger.
Yeah, they really are. And as you were saying, Spirit, he only has a piece of the puzzle. He's not fully aware of the production or the base count of Maru. We do see him going for his own third CC, but as you can see, it is far later than that of Maru. So Maru will be able to get into a pretty nice economic lead with better worker production and more mules as well as we finally get a scan.
Yeah, now both players seeing each other bases, seeing where they're at, and they know where their opponent is, and both of them decide to back off for the time being, but Spirit does have that Raven sneaking in once again.
Yeah, the pressure is now on Spirit to do some economic damage. Now he knows he's behind, he knows that he has to try to come back in some way, and the Raven Harass can help, definitely. We saw it do so much damage in game number 1. But this time Maru isn't being hyper aggressive. This time he's focusing on, saturating his bases. So he is in a much better place here to protect his mineral lines as we are getting into Biotank, thankfully. No one's playing mech.
Yeah, I was a little bit afraid that Maru would go into mech after he floated his racks into Spirit's base, but thankfully we still have Bio on the way, and we'll see how it goes. He does get quite a few Ravens, but so does Spirit, so I guess it will be Ravens versus Ravens for now.
Yeah, we saw it in game 1. Ravens are so crucial here in the early game. They provide so much value. They can make or break a fight depending on how the spells are used and how prepared the opponents are. As Spirit is pushing out across the map, there is one tank in position here for Maru. At the same time, a massive Reaper counterattack into the main of Spirit.
Yeah, the tank of Maru gets disabled and a lot of turrets are thrown down to further boost his attack. So there will be a lot of SCVs going down, but at the same time, Spirit is losing his own to those Reapers on the other side of the map.
Yeah, we have the counter disable as well. The reinforcements come in from Maru, just waiting out the auto targets of his opponent, and Maru is going to clean this up.
Yeah, the rest of the Marines cleaning up the tanks, and in the end, Maru does lose a few more SCVs than Spirit does, but in terms of army, I think it's fairly even.
Yeah, pretty even army supplies. I would argue that maybe Maru could have afforded to lose extra SCVs. As we can see, he's down in 5 workers. And actually, even though he took a faster third, he actually hasn't landed it on location. So Spirit is able to recover. He was able to do enough damage here to bring himself back into this.
Oh, and he's looking for more as now the Liberators are coming in. Maru is building turrets, so he is getting ready for this harassment, but he may not be ready in time.
Yeah, the turret is still in production. The Liberators do show up here in the main base. Maru was in the midst of pushing out. This does force the entire army to turn around. No SCVs will be killed, but a lot of lost mining times that Maru can't really afford as the Liberators, they come back in.
Yeah, it's A lot of mining time and mostly a lot of attention because these liberators are gonna be just chilling behind the bases. There's a Raven as well from the other side of the bases, so a lot of attention of Maru has to be on his bases or he's just gonna be losing workers.
Yeah, we've got a Raven in the natural, we've got a Cyclone at the third, and we have Liberators in the main base. Maru's mineral lines are very under threat right now, but Maru doesn't care. He's pushing out across the map with everything he has. He wants to try to break the third of Spirit.
Yeah, and he will try to do so, but what does Spirit have? He has the tanks prepared, so at least there is that defensive line, but we'll see how it goes with the disables. There's only one Raven here.
That's the thing. There's only one Raven, and Maru's been making medevacs. He hasn't been producing Vikings, which means the Raven cannot get close to those tanks. The Vikings are here to zone him away. Maru tries to rotate around towards the natural, but Spirit scans, and he sees the rotation.
Yeah, Spirit is aware of the movement, and also the Liberators of Spirit are coming back home, so I guess they will be helping in this defense as well. And Maru is struggling to find an opening.
He really is. Meanwhile, we have an auto turret here into the natural base of Maru. More damage being done. Maru already behind economically, now getting further behind as well. It looks like this Raven may be hunted down. Unfortunately, it was left a little bit idle, so that is going to be a bit of an expensive loss for Spirit.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate because the Raven clearly could be saved, but it looks like Spirit's attention was somewhere else as one of the Liberators is now flying straight into the third base.
Yeah, he wants a tank. It looks like the tank should be able to unsiege in time, and yes, it will survive. The Vikings do shoo away these Liberators as well. But at least Spirit has confirmation that the army turned around, that Maru is now back home. Spirit, he can now establish his bases. We have sensor towers on the way. Maru still wants to be active, though. He has quite a large marine force.
Yeah, Maru is still looking for a way to attack into the bases of Spirit. Spirit is on siege right now, so he has to be careful about where he positions his army because, yeah, Maru is going from this side, and unfortunately there is a spotter marine, but those Vikings are actually in a little bit of a danger.
Oh, yeah, one Viking goes down, but it goes down for a medevac, so well worth it here for Spirit. As you were saying, a great spotter marine as well from Spirit. He does catch the army of Maru. He is able to keep up and make sure that, or deflect Maru essentially back home, as both players are going to be establishing their forts.
Did you see at the fourth base, I guess it's the fourth of Spirit, they were both the Testacelo and the Artosilo. They were together. Look.
Oh, they're there, yeah. Let's go.
They were like hugging together.
Smooch. They're not together anymore. Feels bad, man. As we are getting this 2-2 on the way, Maru is getting into his upgrades a little bit faster than his opponent. 2-2. There's going to be a bit of a timing here where he has that advantage. Is it the biggest time? Is it the biggest window? Not really, but we'll see if Maru can make use of it, as the pressure is still on him to get damage done. As Spirit ahead in the army was mining more for longer as well, and is now feeling comfortable enough to be active on the map with some of his own drops.
Yeah, and actually look at the vision of Spirit on the map. There's a lot of spotter units around, a lot of drops going around. I mean, Maru has some of his own as well, and he will be looking for a way of attack here. This SCV just barely misses the army, but it looks like it will catch it.
Yeah, the SCV does. Oh, it's attacking.
Yeah.
Oh, the SCV will go down. Yeah, but the double drop has been spotted. Spirit is aware of it. He does have his own drop active towards the north, so we'll see if he tries to maybe collapse on the medevacs or just commit to his own aggression, as Maru has eyes on the fourth base being taken as Maru gets his own fourth.
This one marine is actually doing a lot of damage, like way more damage than he should have.
Yeah, 4 SCV kills, not bad. Spirit has max, by the way. He has maxed out here with his biotank army. Is looking to make use of it, though. Again, the longer he waits, the more time Maru has to build up his own forces. Oh, he wants the tanks!
Yeah, he drops straight on top of the tank. I mean, not exactly on top of them, that's the problem. So a few of the marines are falling down for no reason, and now the medevacs are empty.
Yeah, it was a nice idea, but only one tank goes down. That was a bit of a costly trade for Spirit. As you can see, the supplies have now evened up, as Spirit does throw away the double drop. And yeah, Maru is able to preserve his tanks, repair them, top them back up, and now we're getting into a bit more of a split map scenario here. Maru just taking more bases, and no one has moved out quite yet.
Yeah, also very worrying thing is that in that fourth of Spirit on the very south of the map, there were a few marines, and they were actually dealing a lot of damage to the workers of Spirit, considering that was just a few units. So Spirit is also like forced to pay attention to the defense of his bases, so maybe he just wasn't paying enough to his drop.
Yeah, maybe his attention was spread a little bit too thin in the end, as We have Spirit just amassing his army. 3-3 on the way for Maru. Spirit a little bit late with his own 3-3. Oh my, we see why. He starts up his own upgrades, but before that happens, we have a fusion core on the way, another starport as well. We should be working towards some more Sky Terran. As Maru has beat him there, he's making 2 Ravens at a time.
Oh boy. As a small force of Spirit is here ambushed a little bit by the Marines of Maru, and once again Maru will try to find a way to attack into the bases, but there are tanks sieged up and the Marines will be falling down.
Yeah, the tank lines are a little bit too powerful here, and Maru cannot find a way in. So the point of the fusion core is going to be for Liberator range, and there we go. Liberator range is on the way. Libs do change, or they do bully tanks quite hard, so they're a great unit to be able to break these fortified positions here of either Terran player. They have their place. Likewise, Ravens have a similar role, where Ravens, instead of sieging up, they just disable tanks. Not just that, but they can also anti-armor missile clumps of Marines as well. So both players are going for a bit of a different approach here as we do get into late game.
Yeah, and that note though, look at Maru's bases. He's been expanding to everywhere he possibly can. And Spirit isn't quite there, he's getting there, but he still has quite a few bases left on his side of the map.
And it shows the dynamic here between the players, where Maru is just aggressively expanding everywhere like a Zerg player, and Spirit is slowly, methodically, you know, taking a 4th, taking a 5th. But that may all work out because he's going for a massive Marine run by, and this planetary is going to be going down.
Yeah, not without a fight and not without taking down quite a few of these Marines, but the entire mineral line is cleaned together with it, and Spirit gets a nice win over here.
He really does. Maru actually pulled back his entire army to deal with this, and Spirit isn't done. He's simming on forward. He wants the tanks, and it's going to be difficult, but it looks like he may get one. No.
2 HP.
2 HP, 1 shot away from going down. But again, it does distract Maru, and it does give Spirit enough time to remax, rebuild his army, work towards 3-3, and prepare here for the assault. Scan does catch Maru, but Spirit is a little bit late to rotate.
Yeah, I mean, he does siege in time, but he is a little bit far away, and Maru may have a way to get on top of this ramp.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to lay siege upon at least a turret. The Vikings push on forward. They do focus down some of these Ravens, but we get an anti-armor missile on top of the Vikings of Spirit.
Yeah, and Maru has a lot of Vikings of his own, even some disables going down as well, and it looks like the air army of Spirit will be cleaned up.
Yeah, Maru, he just has far too much in the air, and he's able to just bully Spirit back. He takes down the bases, and this may just be it. Without a way to deal with all these Vikings, he can't deal with the ground army either.
For a second, Spirit was not repairing this planetary, but doesn't actually matter, because with all these tanks shooting at it and no way to approach them, I think this base is forfeit.
Yeah, this may just be the game-winning move here for Maru, as he does take down this planetary. And as we can see here, he's got 17 Vikings. The mass disables connect here on these tanks, and that means that there is no way for Spirit to escape. There's no way for him to fight back.
Yeah, the Liberators are trying to fight the air army of Maru, but they don't really have the firepower, and the ground is cleaned up by the Marines, and Maru just keeps pushing into Spirit's base.
Yeah, exactly. The air superiority just heavily in favor of Maru. He takes down the majority of the tanks of Spirit, and Maru is going to rotate around and look to try and take down some more bases. He doesn't have enough to break the 3rd of Spirit, but Spirit is far behind in the army supply.
Yeah, I also like when Spirit took down the single planetary of Maru. Maru just made like 4 more.
Yeah, I mean, he's got every base. He has literally every base on the map, or every other base on the map, I should say, and Spirit is trying to edge out his own CCs, but they get spotted by Maru, and I don't think there's a way for Spirit to hold on to them.
No, this base is way too far, and the Maru will just go straight for it. There is no way Spirit can catch up to this army. He may deal with quite a bit of this army, maybe, and take down the count of Maru, but this base is going down.
I mean, Spirit has been making, I think it was like 8 Vikings at a time, so he's got a mass amount of Vikings here, but once again, another anti-armor missile. We have auto turrets on the ground as well to support the army of Maru, and he just trades far more efficiently once again.
Yeah, it also looks like there are not that many Marines of the side of Spirit, so it's basically these Vikings and tanks trying to repel the attacks of Maru, and with the anti-armor missile on the Vikings, like there's not much left for Spirits in these engagements.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I think he did even have a Viking lead, just the
Mm-hmm.
efficiency of the spellcasters of Maru and how he was able to utilize those ravens was far too great. We have Spirit trying to go for another counterattack towards the bottom right-hand corner of the map instead, and he does get within range of that planetary, but Maru is not too far behind.
Yeah, and he lost one of the Vikings just to the two Vikings just to the turrets alone. A bit of a not the ideal position from Spirit, but now he will move in and try to take down this planetary, but the entire army of Maru is here.
Yeah, once again, mass disables on every single tank. The Ravens just bullying back the army of Spirit and just cannot do anything about the Sky Terran of Maru. The Vikings, the Ravens, it's all just too much to handle, and Spirit, he can't do anything about it. He's just been on the back foot ever since that first big fight.
Yeah, and I feel like it's only getting worse for him now, and Maru he just keeps moving forward. There will be more anti-armor missiles, there are still a lot of Ravens on the field, and GG is called. Maru takes the game.
GG, well played, Maru, with a beautiful showing here, transitioning out of a proxy 2-Rax. If you remember, at the start of that game, we had a lot of aggression coming out from Maru, but he was able to transition out of it, be very greedy behind it as well, and tech very quickly into this mass Viking Raven composition that we see does so well in TVT. It's all about the air control. More often than not, the air control kind of dictates how the fight on the ground goes.
Yeah, definitely. Like that is definitely a thing for TVT, and we saw what it does. Like Maru was able to just, you know, Spirit could have had any army he wanted to, and still like Maru just disabled it all, just, you know, anti-armor it all, and suddenly that advantage is gone.
Yeah. Suddenly it is gone, and now we're going into our next matchup, and we are tied up 2-2 here. MaxPax got the 2-0 over Solar. Every TVT series he whips it out at least once, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see it at some point in this best of 2. But outside of that special, he's willing to go mech, he's willing to go into fast Magville accelerator, into cyclone drops, like he he can be very wild as a player, very Gumiho-esque in a way.
Okay. I mean, does he go BCs though? Because I mean, Gumiho likes his BCs.
Yeah, special isn't that crazy. You know, it's like Gumiho is the level above special when it comes to when it comes to how wild he is in series. But special, you know, he's you know, got his own kind of way of things as well. So I do look forward to this TVT. I don't think we're going to get a bland or slow TVT like we have seen in the past. I expect more fire in this best of 2. And the pressure is on, right? If this goes 2-0 either way, then they will take it for their team. If it goes 1-1, then we have an ace match.
Yeah, so definitely an important match for both sides, really, because I mean, in the best of 1 ace match, you actually never know who's gonna take it. It's very risky business, so either player securing the 2-0 would be great for their team. But we are now loaded into Neo Humanity, looking at our blue Terran, representing Onsyde Gaming, Ryung.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Mexican Terran, Special. Oh my god.
I like how they're the opposite colors, by the way. Because Ryung is white and Special is black.
Yeah. And same with their hair as well. Ryung is black and Special is white.
True. I didn't even realize Special has dyed his hair.
Yeah, I pointed it out last week. If you remember, like, it looked like Special was like glowing, like he was just blinding light coming from his because of the way the light was shining off of his hair. It was hurting to look at, actually.
Okay. But Special has some special builds prepared, it looks like, as he is going for the proxy racks.
Yeah. So he's going to be going for a Rax at home and a Rax across the map, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least 1 Rax here across the map. So we'll see how dedicated he's going to be with this build. Ryung is going for an SCV scout across the map to try and figure out what exactly is going on from the side of Special.
Yeah, it will take a little bit before that SCV is there, and in the meantime, we do have a tech lab on this.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this in TVT. If you remember, Piglet used to do this all the time against Protoss players. The Proxy Marauder was a build that was very prevalent back in the 2000 atmospheres meta of TVP. So yeah, Special's going to be bringing that out here in the TVT.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when I think about Proxy Marauder, I mostly think about TVP, not so much about TVT. But if not scouted, this could go pretty well for Special.
It really could. And I mean, Ryung with that SCV scout, he knows that the Rax is missing. He doesn't know where it is, but as we can see the rally, he will be coming across that Rax. But I mean, the Marauder is about to reveal itself anyway, as the Zelnaga does confirm the Rax as well as the add-on.
I was waiting for Ryung's reaction, but no, this is just, you know, regular Saturday for him.
He's seen it all.
Yeah, he's seen it all. To be fair, does he see
Ryung,
it? Because he once again is not using his glasses. Shaking my head.
True, no glasses, but we do have a bunker on the way, and Ryung did pull back his Reaper, so he is preparing himself for the oncoming Marauders. You know, Ryung, he's an old man. Nothing surprises him anymore.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just like, oh, this build, okay, I guess that's what we're doing.
Oh god, we love you, Ryung. We love you.
We do.
As behind this, we do have a CC in the main base. Far faster CC here than a Special. Of course, Special did delay his own bases here in favor of the proxy, but Ryung thankfully was playing it out safe, going for that base in his main. And as a result, these Marauders aren't going to be able to do too much. Ideally, they were going to be forcing a cancel of the natural, but there was no natural to cancel.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the Marauders don't really have anything to do. They're trying to snipe this depot, and actually they are just in range to do so. So, once again, these scouting depots are going down in every game so far.
There you go. They are within range. I think they're pointing out the fact that their shots actually curve in StarCraft.
They do.
Up the ramp, they go full wanted and they curve the bullet.
It's weird, but it looks cool.
So they do get a kill on that depot. At the same time, Reaper slips into the main base, and we have confirmation of the follow-up as well. We have eyes on the tech lab on the starport, as well as the tech lab on the factory. So Ryung just making sure that nothing too crazy is going on. And oh, we do have Special actually not going for a Raven first. He's going for a Banshee first.
Okay, I mean, I could definitely see Banshee doing some damage on the other side of the map. Do you think... Okay, question though. Is this a harassment Banshee, or are we gonna see more than one?
It's typically a harassing Banshee. It's typically... We see it against Protoss as well, where a Terran player would delay their Raven for a faster... I think Beyond does this. Beyond does this a lot, where he delays his Raven, he goes for a faster Banshee. And just because it's so unorthodox, it catches the opposing player off guard, and it can do a lot of damage. We're not committing, like, we're not going to make more than one, and we're not going to make Cloak either.
Yeah, I know.
So just the singular Banshee.
Okay, so just a little bit of a surprise for Ryung there. I don't think he will be expecting a Banshee going around his bases, and yeah, we'll see if Special can get some damage with that, as that does mean that Ryung will be a bit ahead on the Raven production though.
Yeah, he will be ahead in that Raven production, which means that Special has to make this Banshee worth it. It needs to do damage, as we are going to be heading across the map in towards the natural base. We have a tank in position, but tanks do not shoot up. Marines are going to have to respond, but again, there is no stim, so it's going to take a while for the Marines to really keep up.
Yeah, but looks like the Raven is here to respond, but I mean, the turrets are not a moving objects either, so the Banshee can just, you know, go around them, and it's getting quite a few SCVs already.
Yeah, with good enough micro and good enough control, this Banshee should not die. It should be able to survive, but we have another Autotar being thrown down. The Banshee will be hunted down, but one Banshee for 6 SCVs, I would say worth it here for Special, especially considering that we didn't get Cloak.
Yeah, there was no Cloak, and he already has like his Raven production on the way as well. Ryung is not looking to attack anytime soon either, so I think that was pretty worth it.
Yeah, the added value as well is that Ryung was forced to waste Raven energy, right? Typically, we want to harass with the Ravens with auto turrets, or at least have them defensively or offensively to disable tanks. And alas, we won't have that energy available. We will have significantly less available here for the next fight. Or for the next engagement.
But Special is not done with the harassment, and 2 Ravens are coming into Ryung's bases. They will be dropping the turrets all over the base, dealing with the SCVs, building production, and even the SCVs from the mineral line.
Yeah, 3 SCVs good, and that could have been so much worse. A
Yeah.
good pullback from Ryung. He softened up the auto turrets and then pulled back in time to keep his workers alive. That could have been disastrous.
Yeah, like those are like some split-second decisions. Like if the SCV stayed a bit in even a second longer, like there would be a lot of losses on Ryung's side of the map. Fortunately, they aren't, but that does also mean that the SCVs are damaged, so he doesn't repair them. Like they will be easy pickings.
Yeah, they really will be. Oh, so Ryung has to make sure he's on top of that, on top of his repairs, as he's finally being active on the map. Stim is done for Ryung. Quite a more powerful timing here compared to his opponent. He's looking to be active. Special did spot this with the Zelnaga. He did have control of it, and he does pull back in time to keep his units alive. And he looks to try to keep up here with the drop of Ryung.
This one cyclone actually delaying the attack of Ryung. He decides not to go where Special can see him, and it looks like we will have some more time before the players decide to engage.
Yeah, for the most part, it looks like Ryung was just vying for control of the Zelnaga tower, just focusing on getting his upgrades underway. We have combat shields on the horizon, I believe +1 already done. We have the armory for +2. And yeah, things are going to be slowing down at least a little bit here as Ryung gets map control and starts to move out with his army.
Yeah, clearing the rocks, clearing the path towards the bases of Special, and we'll see if Special has army to defend here, because it looks like he is splitting his forces.
Yeah, we do have a scan, and we just see Ryung having full vision here of the army positioning of Special. It does seem like a couple too many tanks are too far behind to really come into play. We'll see if maybe Ryung can take advantage of that, as the Ravens have hit the field. They are looking for the disables.
Yeah, that they are. Both players have two Ravens on each side, but the ones of Special have a bit less energy. But Ryung decides this is not a good idea and moves back, but the Special's army is chasing.
Oh, here's chasing. We do have anti-armor missiles thrown down for both players. Looks like Ryung will lose one of his tanks. That may just be worth it here for Special, as they do bounce off each other.
Yeah, the Ravens are sharking for some good shots there, but they are not able to find a good opening. But Ryung is staying here. He's keeping Special in his base around his third, and yeah, just putting pressure. As at the same time, there is something happening on the other side of the map, but I don't think that's anything too dangerous.
So Ryung is containing Special here to 3 bases as he takes a 4th. The 4th base is being taken on location. Viking's going to try and bully away these Ravens, but Ryung does pull back in time, and again, he's looking to take an economic lead behind this. Has to be careful not to overextend, though. We do see him, he's looking to get caught out, but the Ravens, they get sniped.
Yeah, the Ravens get sniped, and the entire army of Special is in danger. The disables are going on the tanks, but at the same time, Ryung is a little bit cornered, and he decides to drop on the tanks.
Yeah, Ryung, he cleans up all the Marines. He doom drops on top of the tanks, and he's going to take a decent trade, but he doesn't have enough to clean them all up. He is being forced back, and that was a pretty chaotic moment.
Yeah.
Both players lost their Ravens. I believe, oh no, Ryung did keep one of his Ravens alive.
Yeah, Ryung did keep one of his Ravens. He lost most of the tanks though, while Special has quite a few of them, so they will be able to push forward.
Yeah, the tank count from Special is pretty terrifying, but pushing up this ramp is going to be a difficult thing to do, as Ryung does have control here of his half of the map. And so Ryung even throws down 2 starports as we speak. He recognizes the power of the Viking, and he wants to get into his own Viking soon, I imagine, Raven production as well.
Up. Ooh, Ryung dropping on the tanks there. There is 1 tank on siege though, so it will be helping, but still, 2 tanks are going down. An entire medevac.
2 tanks. Yeah, 2 tanks for a medevac full of Marines. Well worth it here for Ryung. He does trade mainly minerals for gas. Losing the medevac is a little bit rough, but again, we have plenty more starports on the way for our Korean Terran, as he is looking for map control. He spots the drop with the Zelnaga.
Yeah, Special also realizes that he has been spotted, so these 2 medevacs will be moving back to the main army, and it looks like we will have more of these small skirmishes around the middle of the map until one of the players decides they have enough to push forward.
Oh, exactly. And it does feel like Ryung is getting away with more because of his 4th base. I don't actually think Special has spotted the 4th, by the way. I don't know how... I don't know if he recognizes how far behind he is economically. We do have plenty of upgrades on the horizon here as well, but here we go. Special is setting up a bit of a doom drop on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time in a long while when Special is moving to the other side of the map, and it's maybe the first time he sees that 4th base of Ryung, as you said, and Ryung does not spot this drop this time, and it looks like it will go unnoticed.
Yeah, there we go. We do see Ryung reacting to the drop. He's rushing back into his main base. This is a very committed move here from Special, and the Vikings are going to be cleaning up these drops at the same time the tank army pushes through the center of the map.
Yeah, Ryung left some forces on the front, but I don't think this is enough to clean up what Special has. Now there are reinforcements coming as the drop is about to be cleaned up, and Special did damage, but he didn't break any of the bases.
Yeah, Special has lost so much here. He lost his entire Doom drop. He loses his tanks as well. Any kind of army advantage that he once had is now gone at this point. It was a nice move from Special. I like the idea, but Ryung had plenty in position to defend, and now we see him take a massive supply lead.
I really like these two bases on Neo Humanity, where the opponents basically look at each other. They're like within one screen distance.
Yeah, you should see this in ZVP when the Tempest can shoot from one side to the other. It's great.
That sounds
it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful. As we do see Ryung slow pushing through the center of the map as well. He has the air superiority, he has the Vikings, and Special can't really do too much to stop him. A couple of tank shots are going to be going off on these Marines, but for the most part, Ryung, he's waiting for his Ravens. Once the Ravens show up, he will be able to break this position.
Yeah, and for now, he's just gonna keep an eye with these Vikings. These few tanks will not be that dangerous when the Ravens are able to disable them, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little bit scared about how forward this air army is.
Oh, exactly. At the same time, we have a drop being set up towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map. This is a way to come back for Special. It is a way to catch Ryung with his pants down, and it looks like Ryung has spotted it. He had control of the Zelnaga, and he sees the drop coming a mile away.
Yeah, and Special realizes that he will be moving back once again. But this air army of Ryung is still waiting for the right moment, but the Marines of Special are so close.
Yeah, close. Meanwhile, oh my god, the triple drop being forced back from Special. He doesn't want to lose too much too quickly. He's still waiting for his moment here to try to break the position of Ryung, but Ryung is now focusing on reinforcing his frontal push. He's sending reinforcements.
Yeah, he has enough to hold Special for a time, but it actually looks like the Marines are overpowering the reinforcements of Ryung, and this drop will go undefended there.
Yeah, the boys have to be pulled, and Special's going to try and break this position, but pushing into this tank line is not going to work out. Special loses all of his Marines and the SCVs.
Yeah, it looks like that didn't quite work out for him as the tanks keep the line, and the drop, after all, moves back to the home base, and I guess we're getting ready for another round.
Yeah, I mean, at least Special did actually kill a decent amount of tanks of
Yes.
Ryung, so once again, Special has the tank lead, which is good, but how much will that really actually work out for him against the Ravens of Ryung? That's the problem. Even though he has more tanks, Ryung has more Ravens.
Yeah, and these Marines will fight here again for the Xelnaga. Ryung is very much aware of all the tanks of Special, so he's not moving into the tank range, but yeah, I'm not sure who can take the fight here.
Ryung's throwing down 2 more starports. I think that's 5 starports in total. That's a lot of starports.
Is he just making Vikings out of those?
Yeah, Vikings and Ravens. We see 2 Ravens
Okay.
being built at a time. We do have Special trying to go for a bit of a wraparound here to get on top of this soon-to-be 6th base of Ryung, but there's plenty here to defend. A couple of Vikings will go down, which is nice, and Special's main army is rotating through the center of the map. Up.
Yeah, looks like he was able to siege on the bottom of this ramp, but the tanks are being disabled and Ryung is able to rain fire from above.
He has a Banshee.
He does have a Banshee. That's a
The
throwback.
Banshee it's doing a lot, to be honest. It's going to be able to get 1 tank, could even get a 2nd tank as well. It's kind of taking the role of a Liberator in a way. Shout out to that Banshee.
I just want to remind you that this game started from a Banshee from Special. So this is like, look, I can also make a Banshee.
Look, this is how you use the Banshee, okay? You don't... Special is forced to unsiege, forced to back off. We do have a double job moving out towards the left-hand side, though. So once again, Special trying to make his more flexible, maneuverable army work to his advantage. Meanwhile, Ryung hasn't been able to break on through yet. He has now a lot of Ravens, quite a Raven count, to be honest. But does he have anything in position to protect his bases?
Yeah, I don't think he has. He's focusing on reinforcing the front position, and 2 tanks are dropping in his natural, and it looks like they will be able to siege.
Oh yeah, they will be able to siege. A mineral line does go down as well. Looks like Special is going to be cleaned up, but Ryung is forced to unsiege and back off. Special is causing a lot of chaos.
Yeah, he's trying to distract Ryung with that drop and moving forward, but Ryung is there to respond, and anti-armor missile is going down as well as the disables. But I'm not sure who has enough here.
Yeah, it looks like Ryung didn't have enough Marines. The Marines of Special push on forward. They break the tank line. Autotarks are going to do what they can, but Special takes a pretty good fight.
Yeah, it was actually really nice for Special. He was able to clean up the army of Ryung, and the drop is still in the main base. The reinforcements of Ryung were not enough to clean it up, and it's still causing chaos.
It really is. Getting even more SCV kills. Special clawing his way back into this. Again, the economies are now looking pretty similar. Once again, I believe Special does have the tank lead overall. Ryung was able to preserve his Vikings and his Ravens at least, but he has been neglecting, it feels like he's been neglecting his ground army a little bit.
The depot is dying.
Depot does burn down. Special looking to try. Well, he does end up getting a 5th base behind this as well, so able to get that up and running. Looks like this drop is finally going to get cleaned up here, and oh my god, Special even does catch a tank.
Yeah, he dove straight on top of the tank, but he will be losing some of his own for it. And look at the air army of Ryung now.
That's a lot of Ravens, that's a lot of Vikings as well.
Light. Do you remember how Ryung says that his mind is Maru, but his body is Ryung? Do you remember previous TVT? Where Maru just had a lot of Vikings and Ravens?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of alluding to that earlier, but yeah, they do both play similar styles, and you can kind of see that coming to fruition here, as this is very similar to how Maru was playing it out. Of course, Ryung is having a hard time closing it out. He is maxed out at this point, but he still can't really engage, not yet. He's still looking for a bit of a better angle, looking for that moment where he can just dive on top of his opponent.
Yeah, he will be trying to disable these tanks and sniping the medivacs off Special, but can he move into this position? It looks like he will try to.
Yeah, and these tanks here are going to go down. They were left behind. They were disabled. At the same time, we have a drop across the map, and this is kind of what we were alluding to as well. The fact that Ryung, his main pushes are always so terrifying, but the drop play of Special is pulling him apart. Ryung is having a hard time keeping up with the multi-pronged aggression of his opponent.
Yeah, but he disables all of the tanks on the front, and it looks like he will be able to push forward and break the defense of Special.
GG. Ryung literally disabled every single tank that Special had, and he takes game number 1 for his team, for Onsyde.
I cannot tell if Ryung was happy.
he like let out a really big sigh, and then he took a swig from the bottle. Okay,
Yeah,
so I didn't.
Oh, why do I do this?
Yeah, he was like, yeah. I don't know if no excitement yet, but maybe if he tours, maybe we're close. Ryung 1 game away from doing it for his team. Meanwhile, Special, it's gonna be his map of choice, and it's gonna be the pressure is now on Special. If he takes this game, we go to the ace match.
Yeah, so this is a very important game in this match. I mean, so will be the ace match if it happens, but this is like one game that really is gonna decide the final score of this match, and it is on Special to figure something out, because I mean, he tried to be tricky in game 1, he tried to go for that proxy marauder, he tried to go for Banshee, but in the end it didn't really do enough.
It really didn't. I mean, the Marauders, they got 1 depot. I think that's it. That's all they got. The Banshee, the Banshee got, I think, 6 SCVs, which was pretty good. The Banshee was pretty good for Special, but outside of that, he was having a really hard time vying for map control with his engagements, with his army composition. If you remember, initially the drop play of Special as well wasn't doing any damage. Ryung was doing a great job at keeping up with it. Eventually, Special was, again, causing some chaos and stretching thin the attention of Ryung. But Ryung, for the most part, was able to keep up, and we never saw any major damage dealt to Ryung's economy. So, very solid play overall. And a pretty interesting map choice here for Special, then, to go for Babylon instead.
What do you think he's planning for Babylon? Does he have another, like, cheesy build, or is it more like, oh no, we're gonna play proper?
I'm gonna say it now. I'm predicting the 2-base starport, 2-base 2-port all in.
Too forward.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it at the very start of this series, how Special he always whips it out in the middle of a TVT. At some point in the TVT, he's very fond of it. Is now the moment? We're here to find out. As in the top left, we have Ryung, and in the bottom right-hand corner for PSISTORM Gaming, we have Special.
They always pick the moment when I'm drinking water. Every time. Aye.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh my god, Special. You see that?
No. What happened?
It's happening. The cab is shaking.
Oh, I guess it must be on his desk, right?
Yeah, it's an earthquake.
It's an earthquake. Oh my god. I mean, you're laughing, but did you see the what Special posted lately? Like, apparently there have been some issues with his home.
Oh yeah. I did see.
Yeah. There was like an Indiegogo or something.
Yeah. Hope everything does work out here for Special in his home. As we are getting into this TVT, we don't have a proxy this time. There is an SCV being sent out across the map, but I'm sure this is more for scouting purposes more than anything here for Special. As the camera shaking may even just be him just smashing away at the keyboard. He's more intense this game. He's ready for it. He's ready for the win. He's hungry.
Yeah, the APM is going up, and the whole house starts shaking.
Oh my god. The power in those hands. Ay.
Oh no, they're gonna start another copy pasta, aren't they?
It's too much. Special, he just blows through these keyboards like nothing. He's a new one every week.
This camera is actually really shaky, I agree.
It is, I'm telling you, it's
It
shaky.
wasn't like that before.
It wasn't. That's why I pointed it out. It's every now and then it just take care, Poppy. Take care. Oh god. For the most part we're getting into this again. Special Ryung just commencing with a bit of a scat across the map, just getting an eye on things. Special going for his CC on location as we speak. So is Ryung. So nothing too crazy. Pretty mirrored builds overall from our players.
Yeah, so I guess we're going for a standard TVT. We have a bit of a skirmish between the Reapers. Looks like Ryung will have 2 Reapers here, so he will be having an advantage for now, but Special's Reapers are joining up as well, so... Yeah, nothing too explosive yet.
Nothing yet, but we'll see how that will change. We see Special once again just being a little bit more defensive. We have a Widow Mine on the way to help defend against any kind of hyper-aggressive Reaper stuff from his opponents. The Reapers, speaking of Special, do slip into the main base, and they are going to be hunted down.
Nice pickup for Ryung. And this one Hellion of Special now doesn't really have an opportunity to get in, and Special will have to find another way to do some damage.
Yeah, and the Hellion does dip into the natural, but once again it takes a lot of hits trying to force its way up the ramp, and it is going to look to be hunted down. So the defenses of Ryung just a little bit too sturdy here for Special. He does lose a lot of map control as a result, but nothing too major. Like losing your Reapers, losing your Hellions, they don't have too much longevity in this game anyway, so not the biggest of losses here for Special.
Yeah, definitely. As neither of the players is overly aggressive right now, but it looks like Special is going for the Liberator, so he will try to find some damage on the side of Ryung. And I mean, Ryung is not really one to be overly defensive in his bases. He will have the Draven, which definitely will work more against a Liberator than a Banshee, but we'll see how good his defense actually is.
Yeah, very fast Liberator here from Special. Very interesting. I'm sure he's setting up for a bit of multi-prong harassment. Liberator heading towards the main, and I'm sure he's going to be trying to distract his opponent with that Hellion, or maybe with a couple of his other units as well. Behind this, Ryung will have a much faster Raven, of course, as he isn't going to be wasting any time with any Liberator. And Special's actually getting to very early Viking production.
Yeah, but at the same time, Ryung spots exactly where the Liberator is going. The Cyclone is there, the Raven is there, and Special's like, okay, no, thank you very much, I'm gonna go back.
Yeah, and this is looking like a pretty committed two-base play from Special, by the way. To rush into Vikings like this, like he wants to make this push work. He wants to snowball out of control and break the natural base of Ryung. We can see Ryung repositioning his entire army, getting ready at his natural. Meanwhile, Special is sending everything he has across the map.
Yeah, Ryung did have that spotter Hellion to see what is going on. That Widowmine is getting damage, but I don't know if he can snipe it. Just barely he does.
Does barely snipe it in the end, but the Liberator does show up, and with the power of these Vikings, the Liberator, the goal here is to try to bully back these tanks of Ryung, try to get into a better position overall. Does go for a scan, does see Ryung's army for the time being, and Ryung is going to reposition.
Yeah, and we'll see who can get that advantage here, like... Yeah, that's a nice position from Special, but can he go up that ramp, or is he just gonna keep Ryung in his base?
Look, I've casted enough Special to know this is the two-base all-in. That's the second starport on the way for Special, so it is a two-port, two-base all-in from Special. Okay. It is Special. He does it very often in TVT. And Ryung recognizes that he's going for a second starport of his own, so he's going to be keeping up with the Viking production of Special. Or he's going to try to.
Ooh, but Ryung is attacking, disabling both of the tanks. Perfect timing, and he will be moving towards this army, taking down the Liberator and cleaning up everything else.
The second starport isn't even going to come into play. The disables were insane. The tanks, the army of Special crumbles. And he does have one tank remaining, but Ryung is looking to hunt it down. The angle of attack, the Ravens were the MVPs for Ryung, and Special just was not expecting that.
Yeah, Ryung did lose 8 SCVs, which is not ideal. But I love the position of those Ravens. They were quietly waiting behind the army for the perfect moment for the double disable. And just like that, Ryung was able to take down the entire army.
Yeah, exactly. And now Special's on the back foot. Now, he will have a Viking lead, but not right now as he lost too much across the map. And Ryung is able to bully Special back in again. Typically, to react against this two-base, two-port, like all-in, you do respond with your own starport. And we have continued Viking and even Liberator production from Ryung. He knows exactly how to respond to this.
Yeah, Ryung is prepared. He knows exactly what to respond with. He still has 2 of his Ravens. He has to be careful because, as you said, Special has a lot of Vikings already, so those Ravens can easily get sniped. But for the time being, he's containing Special right here.
Yeah, he's doing a great job at that contain. What's important as well is that Ryung kept his Ravens alive, and they are gathering energy for another fight, for another wave, another round of disables. And again, Ryung is keeping up with the Viking count. I would love to see the unit count right now. I'd love to see who has the higher Viking lead, but it looks like Special does have it. It looks like he's able to force back the air army, and yeah, Ryung is forced to land his Vikings.
Yeah, protecting his Vikings from the attacks from the air, but that means the Ravens are even more in danger, and he is trying to sneak them around once again away from the army.
Yeah, exactly. He's coming in from the side once again. Special out of position with his Vikings as the Ravens do threaten, and they don't actually quite commit. They're actually going to be going for some auto turret harass instead, as we have a Liberator in the main.
I'm not actually sure. I guess they should have enough energy, right? Ooh, but they catch all of these SCVs with the auto turret. This may be a lot of damage, actually.
Every single SCV is going to be going down, but Special doesn't care. He's going for the 5. Ryung shakes his head. He was caught a little bit out of position here. He's going to be losing a lot of Vikings. Special is pretty all in with this, but he has a pretty large army to work with.
Yeah, Ryung has to reposition. He has to fight this army right here. He has more tanks than Special does, but with all of these Vikings, Special may have advantage.
Oh, it's gonna be close. The boys are being pulled as we speak. Special is trying to force his way up this ramp, and it looks like he barely will. He has the tank lead. We can see Ryung, he's reacting as well. Again, Special doesn't have an economy behind this, but he has an army.
Yeah, like, if Special loses this army, like, there's not, like, his economy is really damaged, but, I mean, he still has that army, and he will be moving forward.
Yeah, and there we go. The boys are being pulled. Ryung is going for one last-ditch effort. He's going to be landing his Vikings on top of these tanks, and it looks like Ryung should be able to clean this up. He can afford to lose SCVs. GG gets called! And Ryung takes it 2-0. Oh.
Nice. We even got a little bit of a clap from the tuna.
Yeah. There was a fist bump as well. He was popping off, mate. I mean, Ryung was smoging. He was smoging when he got caught by the move-outs. When Special was forced all in. Like, he was so upset with himself because he lost like 3 or 4 Vikings because they were caught up in the air.
Yeah, and like he knew it was his mistake, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a little bit too inattentive with his army. So that was a really, really close moment, a really scary moment for Ryung, but he was able to bring it back in the end. GG gets called, and Ryung takes a 2-0, not just for himself, but for his team, as Onsyde Gaming take down PSISTORM Gaming 4-2.
Yeah, and as we said, like this, if he lost even one game versus Special, like this would go to the ace match. So this was actually very important for Ryung to win this 2-0, and he was able to do that. And as you said, he's taking the win for his team.
Yeah, he takes the win for his team. Ooh, he does it here in the end for Onsyde. My condolences to PSISTORM, because I think I saw someone in the chat earlier mention that PSISTORM were fighting for their tournament life, and if they lost this series, they would not be eligible for the playoffs, and I think they are correct in that. PSISTORM, they're in a really rough place in the standings, and with this loss, I believe they will not make it to the playoffs.
That's very unfortunate for PSISTORM, as they were really focused on making the playoffs this season. Like even like halfway through the year, like they acquired Spirit literally for that purpose, to improve their rankings, and if that didn't work for them, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate. I mean, Spirit is an amazing player, and the acquisition of Spirit was so crucial here for PSISTORM to do well in this, but it was also very late, right? We were already halfway through the season by the time they got Spirit. And then even then, there's that 2-week period where he can't actually play for PSISTORM because he was like kind of poached from another team. So there's a rule where he can't play for 2 weeks, which means that I think he only played for PSISTORM for 2 rounds of the round robin stage. So yeah, he wasn't able to really bring it all back here for PSISTORM in time. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunate for PSISTORM, but hey, I'm just happy to see Ryung win, okay? And him taking it 2-0 is pretty hype.
Oh yeah, is pretty hype, sir. With that, congratulations to all the players that did compete today, to Onsyde Gaming, as well as, so quickly double check, to Onsyde Gaming, as well as to Team Liquid as well, for taking some really big wins here. And that is the end of day 2 of WTL this week, but we have another day ahead of us. If you want to tune into some more World Team League action, tomorrow, in less than 24 hours, we'll have day 3, which will be featuring Invictus Gaming versus the Starving Camels, and Shopify Rebellion versus Team Basilisk. Oh, let's go, papi.
Those are like two of the biggest, of currently, like maybe not the biggest, but like highest level teams in the foreign land, to put it that way. Yeah. And also, don't sleep on the Camels, because I know that a lot of people are here like regularly, but those who aren't, because we do have quite a few viewers today, the Camels are crazy. Like, nobody expects them to do well, and then they just do.
The Starving Camels are the dark horses, the dark camels, if you will, of this tournament, and they've done so well for themselves. I desperately want them to make it into the playoffs, but to do so, another team has to fall. So yeah, we'll see how well the Starving Camels can perform. Likewise, Basilisk versus Shopify. Oh, that's quite a matchup. Make sure you're here for it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be casting live with Asher. So if you're a fan of maybe the Light Asher duo, Asher will be joining me tomorrow evening for WTL.
Oh boy.
What does that mean? What did that mean, Corey? What do you mean?
Nothing. Everything is okay. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Shaking my god.
Yeah, because we lashed them. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh god. But yeah, with that, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. I know this is the first time for some people to tune into the CranKy Ducklings, but we are live every day, multiple times a day. We have plenty of StarCraft on this channel. So if you enjoyed our coverage, if you enjoyed our casting, then consider following us, because we have plenty of StarCraft available here on Twitch and on YouTube. Our next broadcast is not WTL tomorrow. It's actually before that, in around 10 or so hours. We're going to be live, or less than 10 hours. We're going to be live with the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. What is that? It is a bi-weekly tournament for the regions of North America, Latin America, and Asia. So if you want to tune into some NA and Oceania, if you want to tune into some NA or Oceanic action, then check us out in around 9 hours for the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. It is a tournament that we host, that we run here on the channel.
Yeah, you can also play in it if you are from any of those regions. So make sure to check out the signups.
There you go. There you go. Make sure you check it out. Likewise, you can also follow us all over the place. We're on all the social medias. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. I mentioned it earlier, but if you want to take part in the WTL prediction game, Discord is the place to be. We have a channel dedicated for predictions, and you can check out your standings amongst all the other community members, as well as we do our best at trying to predict some of these matches. But today there were quite a number of upsets. A lot happened today. It was crazy.
In general, I feel like this round there have been a lot of upsets. I feel like as I've been looking through like the scores of the predictions, like not many people have predicted the right scores. But I think that was the case for the last round as well. Like these later rounds are really becoming difficult.
Oh yeah, very hard to predict. Very close matches. Everyone has been playing so on fire. Even, for example, Jeshi today. Jeshi took a game off of Clem. That was crazy. That was crazy. Oh my god. But
Wait,
with that,
was it Jeshi who had that celebration with the cat?
Yeah, he had the cat.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. I didn't know why there was a cat, but there was a cat.
He should have had a clam, because clam.
True. He should have eaten the clam on stream.
Oh.
There you go. But with that, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We are done for now. We're done for the evening. But Kuro, I know a lot of people maybe haven't heard you cast before, so why don't you let the people know who you are and where they can find more of you?
So I am the casting Jersey, and normally what I'm doing is I am doing all the behind the scenes work for CranKy Ducklings, so in most of it at least. I'm doing the socials, I'm doing the tournament brackets. Most of the time I'm adminning these days as well, so all the things that don't include being on camera will most likely be me. Like Light also has his own duties in the Ducklings, but he's mostly the person who is casting the tournaments, and I'm not so much. But anyway, if you want to follow me, then make sure to check me out on Twitter at 16squads or on Twitch at 16squadsanseki. And I don't know if I'm gonna stream ever.
We're busy. We're busy ducklings here, and we got a lot of work on our table that we got to get through. But yeah, I don't know if you mentioned it, but Kuro even was at DreamHack Young Shipping as well. She was part of the referee team for ESL Master Summer. So again, she does a lot of work in the scene, not just here in the Ducklings, but also other projects, and also when it comes to major offline events as well.
That was my second offline event as a referee. The first one was IM Katowice, and the second one was the ESL Master Summer. So some of the players might have met me there, and yeah, it's a really fun job, I have to say. Like, because see, the thing is, StarCraft scene is very chill. Like, most people are just very chill, and like, there are rarely any problems with the players themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of what happens when, like, we've been around for so long, for so many years. Everyone kind of knows everyone, and
yeah, but even the new players are usually okay. True, like, we have a lot of young players now, actually. Like, we have a lot of teenagers now. Like, there is the new generation of StarCraft players.
And yeah, with that, I believe we're going to be done here for the night. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you guys in a couple of hours for some more StarCraft, for the Tenacious Turtle Tussle.
But Light,
and until then,
you haven't said where we can find you.
Exclamation mark Light in the chat. You can get links to my Twitch and Twitter. I stream whenever I can. I was actually laddering just before our cast today as well. I don't have a lot of time to stream on my channel just because we're casting so much here on the Ducklings. And I usually want to make sure that I have energy for the cast, and I don't want to spend all my energy like smudging and getting cheese on the ladder. It can be very taxing. It can be very taxing on the mental, on the brain, Papi. You can imagine. But yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitch, you can follow me there. I do stream whenever I can. I'm also playing Diablo 4 with Asher. So every now and then, to kind of let off some steam, we play some Diablo 4. We're still playing through the main story, where wrapping up Act 3, if I recall correctly. Act 3. So we're still working our way through. So if you're interested, you can follow me there. I play with Asher whenever I can. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.